I've never received payment from PHLster, nor did they ask me to create this video. I consider John and Sarah friends, but I would not say positive or negative things about any product unless I truly felt that way.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week's video is about Bellybands versus the Enigma. They have a lot of differences, and that's what I'm going to mainly be talking about today, but something that they do actually have in common is that both the Enigma and pretty much any Bellyband functions entirely separately from your waistband, and that's actually the major draw to Bellybands and things like the Enigma is the ability to conceal carry independently from your pants so that you can wear a skirt or shorts or dress pants or basketball shorts, whatever you're wearing to the gym. There's lots of applications for carrying separately from your waistband, and these solve that niche, but one of them does a much better job. So I want to touch on safety, concealment, and pricing for both the Enigma and Bellybands in general. I have to kind of niche down and talk about mainly the can concealment Bellyband because that's the one that I actually have in my hands. But a lot of these things apply to pretty much all Bellybands. Maybe you have a Bellyband that has a Kydex insert in it. That changes some of the dynamics, but if you watch through the whole video, you'll kind of get a better feel for Bellybands versus the Enigma. So let's get right into talking about safety. Something that is important to consider is trigger protection. Bellybands are stretchy material, and most of them that I've seen, you're able to actually access the trigger if you try to through the material. And obviously we're not going to intentionally pull the trigger when we're actually actively carrying through that material, but our fingers are not the only thing that can pull the trigger. I do know of one where a man was carrying in a Bellyband, playing with his dog. He had his safety on, and his dog jumped onto his Bellyband and actually managed to pull the trigger through the Bellyband after disengaging the safety on his gun. So all sorts of crazy things can happen, and it's totally up to us to make sure that our trigger is entirely protected by a hard material. The next thing to consider with Bellybands is, again, it's a stretchy material, and when we place a stretchy material on our body that is very mobile, and then we put something that is hard and fixed into that stretchy thing, that hard and fixed thing, said gun, is going to want to work its way in different directions as your body and the band move, which ultimately, especially if it has a longer muzzle, can result in the gun actually flopping out of the Bellyband because it doesn't have retention. So that's the next thing to consider, is that it's a stretchy material, and a stretchy material can only have so much retention to actually safely keep your firearm in there. The next thing to consider is retention actually on your body. There's nothing really to hold a Bellyband in its place. The Bellyband that I have actually has silicone wrapped all around the inside of it to try to keep it from riding up, but nonetheless it rides up. Again, our bodies are mobile, and that stretchy material wants to work its way up as we move. At least that's been my experience, and I know of other people who've had that experience with Bellybands as well. The next thing that I want to mention about the safety of Bellybands is that, again, they're a stretchy material, so they're actually a collapsible holster, which means that when you want to go to reholster, you have to risk potentially flagging your support hand because you're holding that holster open in order to actually muzzle your gun in there. Or a lot of people tend to muzzle the actual gun in towards their body to kind of get the gun into that pocket and then weasel it down into that pocket. And that's problematic for really obvious reasons. We never want to point a gun at ourselves. Keep your gun pointed in a safe direction at all times. I think that's like a rule somewhere. Now that we've addressed some of the safety issues that come with Bellybands, let's talk about the safety features that come on the Enigma. So the Enigma is a chassis system. It's not a holster. I know that can be kind of confusing. The holster doesn't come with the Enigma. So you either need to have a compatible holster already, or you'll need to find a compatible holster to go with your Enigma. And compatible just means that it needs to have a mod wing, a raven wing, or a dark wing. And that's for the non-light bearing Enigma. The light-bearing Enigma, it requires a different wing, and it actually requires a certain attachment point on the front. We're talking about the normal Enigma here, not the light-bearing Enigma. So because the Enigma requires you to use a full Kydex holster, we already have some safety features here that we definitely didn't have with the Bellyband. The Kydex holster is going to adequately cover that trigger guard and keep you from being able to actually access the trigger through or around or in any way near the holster. It would actually have to lose retention and come out of the holster in order for you to be able to actually access the trigger, which we didn't experience when we're talking about the safety of belly bands. We can actually access the trigger through that belly band material while the gun is seated in the holster. The next thing I want to mention about the safety of the Enigma is that it is designed to move with your body. It's actually designed for movement and performance in mind and tested that way as well. So we know that it's designed for movement. We know that it's designed for performance. It's going to move with our body and not force the gun up out of the holster in any kind of way. The next safety feature I wanted to mention about the Enigma is the leg leash. And the leg leash isn't there exclusively for safety. It's also there for other reasons, but for safety, it actually keeps the Enigma down where it's supposed to be so that when you go to draw your gun, you don't lose your holster. So that's something that you can experience with belly bands, like I said, is they can ride up inside your waistband. And the Enigma doesn't actually allow that to happen because of the leg leash. So that's why PHLster has made it fairly clear to their customers that you've got to leave that leg leash on there. It's designed to work with the leg leash. And once we remove it, we face a whole different slew of safety issues and performance issues. I'm going to link my video above about holster safety and all the things that we want to actually require out of our holsters, and that's actually another place where the Enigma just passes with flying colors. So if you want to kind of dive in a little bit deeper on what we want to require out of our holsters, go check out that video after this one. So now let's move right along to the concealment portion of this video. I'm going to talk to you guys about how the Enigma conceals versus how belly bands conceal. I think this is going to be a pretty easy one for me to address when it comes to belly bands because belly bands don't actually have any concealment features built into them. It's essentially like a pocket that is designed to be worn around your waist that is separate from your pants. If you put a gun in a pocket, there's not anything to push up against any kind of pressure point to get the grip to tuck in or to get the top of the slide to tuck in. And that's how we conceal things, is by bringing it closer to our body and kind of camouflaging it against our own shapes and curves and peaks and valleys. So if we don't get it to curve in and kind of suck in closer to us and grip tuck and all of those things, then we're going to be struggling with concealment. And I've not ever seen a belly band that actually does a good job of tucking the grip without actually sacrificing access to accomplish that. Now, when we talk about the Enigma and concealment, we're talking about a product that was specifically designed to do concealment really, really well. The Enigma actually is something that people use to accomplish really deep concealment, and that means basically you have the ability to hide this gun to the point where you can lift up your shirt and there is no gun to be seen. So it does concealment really, really well, and I want to kind of explain why that is. The Enigma is designed for customization. So you have the ability to move the belt around to, figure out grip tuck. You can tuck the grip in really tight if you want, or you can make it a little bit less aggressive. You can worry about how much you want to tuck the slide into you. It allows you to kind of adjust how much concealment you want to get and what kind of concealment you need with whatever specific gun you're using. And something that I really, really love about the Enigma is that customization that it allows you to accomplish. The Enigma is also infinitely adjustable, so it can fit a really large array of different sizes of different people. And typically one size fits all is pretty much the worst thing ever. It pretty much means that it doesn't kind of almost work for a large amount of people. And that's totally not the case with the Enigma, because the belt can actually be cut to and then burned to fit your body. And the other thing that I love about the infinitely adjustable thing that the belt has going for it is that if I want to wear it up higher on my waist, I just need to tighten the belt down a little bit, and I can wear it up higher or loosen it and wear it down much lower. So I can wear it in multiple different spots on my torso, and I don't think that I can do that with other belly bands. In fact, the belly bands that I've purchased, I've had a hard time even getting their smallest size to work for me. So I love that aspect of the Enigma too, and that works for concealment because it lets me fit it onto different parts of my torso. So this last category is about pricing, and the different prices of belly bands is going to vary like crazy, but I'm going to try to do my best. So I did kind of like a survey over on my Instagram, and a lot of people actually participated in it and gave me an idea of like what different belly bands are out there and the pricing that they would spend on them. So from what I could get a feel for, it sounds like the cheapest thing you can get for a belly band out there is $20. But something to consider there is that there's like 100% guarantee that that's not going to be safe to carry in. So you're going to have to modify that to make it safe, which means you'll probably want to add an entire Kydex holster to that in order to make it safe. So you're spending $20 on the band, but you're going to need to spend at least $40 on a holster or a trigger guard. So I would say base price starts at like $40, $60-ish dollars for a safe option to use. And then it kind of goes up from there. So I saw things going up as high as like $110, $120 because like I said, most belly bands don't come with any kind of trigger protection. And if that is an important feature to you as it should be, then you're going to need to actually purchase trigger protection on top of the price of the belly band. So I've seen that go up as high as $110 to $120. And the Enigma weighs in at $84.99. Something to consider here is if you don't already have a holster that's compatible with the Enigma, you're going to need to factor in the price of a holster. And that can get a little bit pricey. We're looking in like the $150-ish range here if you're adding a holster to it. And obviously that's going to be a little bit more than a belly band. But we're at the end of this video and we've gone over all of the things that belly bands tend to struggle with that the Enigma absolutely excels at. And if we're going to invest an extra $50-ish to achieve concealment and have a safe holster that allows us to actually train with it, I think that's a worthwhile investment. At the end of the day, the only thing that belly bands and the Enigma actually have in common is that they're completely separate from your pants, but the Enigma excels at everything that belly bands just don't do very well, and because of that, I don't really see a reason to spend any amount of money on such a suboptimal setup that comes with a belly band when you can just spend a little bit more to purchase something like the Enigma that allows you to carry safely and train in and use consistently and actually conceal really well in. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys in kind of deciphering the major differences between belly bands and the Enigma. If you feel like supporting Armed and Styled, head over to my website and pick up a couple stickers. I actually have some hats coming in, so if you're excited about that and you want to be up to date on that, go ahead and sign up on my email waiting list and you'll get notified when those come to my shop. So thanks for supporting Armed and Styled, and I'll see you guys next week. So this last